everyone, Dr. Chris here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about an app that I have prepared maps for multiple times, but today I have used it more than I've ever used it before. That is a very special Esri mobile app called Collector. Got some interesting things to say about it now that I've used it. Here we go. All right, here I am back in my basement office where once again I am a free agent in GIS, in Geoscience, in graphic design, in video production. Today's video, however, is on Esri Collector app. This is going to be a brief introduction on how to set it up and sort of the cycle that you have to go through to go from ArcGIS Pro to ArcGIS Online to Collector app, and sort of mixing it up in there to make sure that you've got your settings correct. I've made a lot of maps for Collector, but I have to admit I never use Collector that much. That's because I was in the office most of the time and not in the field. Luckily for me and you, my daughter was doing a school project on wetlands, actually called Humedales in Spanish. She's in a Spanish immersion school. I think I pronounced that right, Humedales. So I set up a map in ArcGIS Pro, put it online so she could go out in the field using Collector app to collect points of data. Now she did about 10 points and I did the rest. And I talk about that at the end of the video, and I will show you the videos from the field. Before I get going, if you would like to support the channel, I've got a Teespring store down below where I've got some cool GIS and Geoscience shirts that you can purchase. Also, please check out my website, geographicinformationsuccess.com, where you can also subscribe to my email newsletter. I'm writing a couple GIS mindset books, which I hope to get out sometime in the future, which I'll keep you posted on that. But here, let's get into a brief introduction to going from ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Online, to Collector, and a bit of a mixture in through there. Here we go. Once again, my software of choice is ArcGIS for personal use. That's because I am a bit of a fan man for the software. No, Esri is not paying me for this, but they can if they like. This video is a series I like to call Build a Bulletproof GIS. And again, I'm going to talk about how ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Online, and Collector all work together. Now, you would think that you would go from one to the other in a nice circular motion, but that is not the case. I'm going to talk briefly about how each one of these, actually looks like it's opposite for you guys, each one of these gets used to maximize the other when you're going out in the field with Collector app. We start off at the very beginning, and that is with ArcGIS Pro, and that is when you do the what, why, and how of your field work. In my case, I set this up for my daughter and her grade school study of wetlands. So it's actually pretty basic, but your field work can be basic as well. What do you have to consider? Well, first you got to consider what research you're going to do, and you got to ask questions about what you want to get out of the field. Once you make a list of those, you're going to want to make some features within your geodatabase. Sometimes you need one feature like I did, and I'm going to show you why I only used one feature. For more complex acquisition, you may need multiple features. Next, you'll have to do domains and subtypes. I've done domains in this case for all the various things that we were going to see out in the wetlands. Now, I'm going to have to say that we overestimated what we were going to collect in the field, and I'll talk about that also in this video. Next, you're going to have to make symbology. Now, you got to keep in mind that symbology from ArcGIS Pro to ArcGIS Online to Collector has to be pretty much the same, and there's limitations in each one. For instance, you can make some pretty cool lines in ArcGIS Pro that will not currently carry over onto Online and into Collector. So you're going to have to keep things actually pretty basic. Also in ArcGIS Online, this is where you make your maps local, that means on your machine, and online if you like. I prefer doing my online maps online using ArcGIS Online. Once you're done with ArcGIS Pro, you share your maps online. This is where you do your mobile setup. So to go from ArcGIS Pro to online, this is where, again, you share your features to a hosted feature set. There's a few things you got to remember to do. You got to make sure that you've got map versioning when you're online, especially if you got big projects that you're working on, because you can have multiple maps. In my case, I did put a versioning control on it, and I'm going to show you that. But if you have too many maps named the same, you're going to get absolutely confused. Ooh, that one's out of order for some reason. Check hosted feature layers. Well, make sure that your hosted feature layers has shared online properly. Sometimes there's little errors that happen, and you may have to share it again. It doesn't happen too often, but it happens enough that I used to have Esri's help number on my speed dial. I'll give you a big solution tip here. Do things again if something goes wrong. Next, you got to share your maps and your hosted feature layers with groups. Now, the great thing is, if you share your map with a group, it'll automatically ask you to share the hosted feature layer with that group. So the sharing with the group is essential because you could get out in the field and all of a sudden, they don't see your map. That sort of happened to me, but that happened to me at the collector level. Next, you got to make sure that you update the settings within your maps because you have to make sure online that you tell the map that it can go offline. Now, this is really important in areas that don't have cell phone coverage. Now, I did this in the city, so we had cell phone coverage, so it wasn't quite that important for me to set it, but it should be on a checklist of things to do, especially if you're going to be out of Wi-Fi and cell phone range. Next, we go to collector. And that is on your mobile device. In this case, I used an Android phone. Before you deploy it to the field, you got to make sure that you test it properly. That includes downloading it before you get to the field. Now, I made that mistake when I went out in the field, but luckily, I was in the city. We have cell phone range, so I just changed the download settings, made sure I can download it over non-Wi-Fi. Or non-Wi-Fi? Yeah, you know what I mean. Download it beforehand. Make sure you check the features. Now, again, there shouldn't be a problem by the time you get to collector. Your features should be all right. Just in case, make sure you double check. This could get a little tedious. You've got a lot of features within your map that you're using on your collector app. In my case, there was only one hosted feature that had to be checked. It was all right. As you can see, I've got some, put that in there. Oh, look at that. That's doing some weird things to my, look. Anyways, check your features if you can. Next, check your symbology. Now, your symbology should look similar to what is on ArcGIS Online. Got to remember that from Pro to ArcGIS Online, the collector symbology has to be the same, and that's because you can make some pretty cool symbology within ArcGIS Pro that will not carry over to the other two applications. You got to make sure when you're looking at the app that it makes sense and you can see it on these small screens. Next, check that your field workers can do it. You got to think that some of your field workers, most of your field workers, aren't going to be GIS people. They want simplicity. If they're out there surveying birds, you're going to have a list of birds. If they're out there surveying trees, they're going to have a list of trees. Don't want to confuse them. This is where you check back and forth with your field workers to make sure that you've set up your maps such that they can understand it and have devices such that they can use them. Next, you repeat this. Now, how do you repeat this all together? Because you've got to go from Pro, Online, Collector. Well, it looks something a little bit like this. Start off in ArcGIS Pro, asking your questions, setting up your features, setting up your domains. Share it online to ArcGIS Online. You check all the features, you check all the symbology, and then for me, I like coming back to ArcGIS Pro, doing the fix-ups there, and sharing it back online once again. Once you've got something set up reasonably good in online, then you take it to the Collector app. You can do tweaks back and forth between Collector and ArcGIS Online. Now, I've got to say, I like going all the way back to ArcGIS Pro because I like having it done right at the beginning and then cycling through the system. But you can go back and forth between Online and Collector. And then finally, do this all again. Repeat it until you've got something that works well. I'm going to show you my setup in ArcGIS Pro right now and online as well. Here I am in ArcGIS Pro, and what I've done is I've set up a single feature with domains. I'm going to show you the domains. The single feature is called Wetland Observation Points. I'm going to go to Data, click on Domains, and you can see the domains that I've set up. Now you can do a code and a description. I made the code and description almost the same, but I capitalized the code. You can set up numeric, whichever way you like. Symbology over here, I went through it with my daughter and I made this within Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. I got some icons and I brought them into ArcGIS Pro. I've made these fairly large, and that's because I knew that I had to go online and then to Collector, and that's why you've got to make sure that the size of the icons make sense within all three applications. Our area of interest is here, the Dale Hodges Park within Calgary. It's an urban stormwater wetland. Pretty cool stuff around there. That's why we have this list of animals, amphibians, birds, fish, flowers, grasses, insects, mammals, a miscellaneous. That's right. I think you should always have a miscellaneous option within your domains. That's in case you're out in the field and something happens and you're like, this is new. Hit that miscellaneous. You can check it later. So I shared that online, made a map, and The great thing about ArcGIS Pro is that right now what we're looking at is the hosted feature layer online right now. As you can see, these are the points that we picked out during our field operations. The great thing is I enabled attachments at the very beginning so I can click on them and see pictures. You can actually see the pictures better on ArcGIS Online. I'm going to go there really quickly. Hold on. Here I am in ArcGIS Online, and you can see that I've got my symbology. So if we come down here, I know this is garbage, so I can click on it, and I have taken several pictures. To get a little better picture, I can click on it, and it makes it nice and big in the screen. I can go to my mammals. Now, we set up mammals because my daughter was like, hey, we're going to see deer. We didn't see any deer. Actually, we didn't see any mammals, but we did see these. It's actually pretty cool. What it is trees taken down by beavers. Now, I collected most of these points. That's because right about here is when my daughter got a little tired of doing it. So I went through and picked out a whole bunch of points. Now, check this one out. That is what we call a positioning error. And I know that's supposed to be over here because if I click on it, it is a picture of, I'll slide down. It is a picture of a bridge over a little man-made stream. And that was right about here. Took some video in the field and talking about it right now. Check it out. One thing I could do so far that's really helpful is that I can do all my collecting with one finger as long as I've got my phone in my hand. Don't really have much time to do a lot of this collecting. It's not that I don't want to, but I've got some kids here, so really I have about an hour of time to collect as much as I possibly can. And that's not a lot. Closer to the river, there's a lot of beaver activity taking down trees. About 500 meters in here, maybe a bit more. They've got the mesh on the trees to keep the beavers away. They have them closer to the river as well. I didn't think they'd put them this far in though. I said before it was about 500 meters from the river. I forgot there's a measure feature on Collector that's actually 256 meters from the river. Filling information using Collector is a little bit difficult using one hand, and when you've got some time restrictions like I do. Some ducks over there. Let's see if I can get the ducks in there. May or may not. But what it boils down to is I had the bird feature, hosted feature on the Collector app, but I couldn't type in duck fast enough, so I said forget it. Just kept the picture in. I'll check it later. Say there were ducks. Alright, my final thoughts here. I love Collector app. Well, I love the Esri suite of software, but Collector app is actually really damn good. I didn't have a lot of time to give it a test on this particular survey, but I know that it works quite well. It got me thinking I should probably do a tutorial on how to use it currently. I don't really like doing point and click things right now because, man, Esri changes so rapidly. Within 2 months, they'll be doing something slightly different anyways. But maybe I'll put something together. We'll see. That'll be in the future. Now, before I go, just a reminder, if you'd like to support the channel, I've got a Teespring store down below where I've got some cool GIS and Geoscience shirts for you to buy. Again, that's to support my channel. Also, check out my website, geographicinformationsuccess.com. Sign up to my newsletter, which I still got to type more to get stuff out. I'm writing some GIS mindset books, which I hope that you are going to check out when they are ready. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, add me to your LinkedIn, or even better, share my videos through your networks. Till next time, I'm Dr. Chris. Keep rocking.